Spring Data JPA provides various options to define and execute queries. All of them use JPA's query capabilities, but make them a lot easier to use. You can reference a named native or JPQL query, derive queries from the name of a repository method, and declare a query using the query annotation. I already explained the second and third options in previous videos, which you will find in the description. In this video, I will show you how you can use named queries with Spring Data JPA. Hi, I'm Torben Jansen and I solve Java persistence problems for a living. If you are new here and you want to learn how to create your entity mappings with ease, build incredible efficient persistence layers with Hibernate and Spring, and all types of other Java persistence related stuff, subscribe and click the bell to get new videos every week. And also don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful. By doing so, you are helping me to reach more people with it. Okay, let's get back to today's topic. As I said earlier, I want to focus on the first option, the referencing of a named native or JPQL query in a Spring Data repository. It makes executing your query much easier because Spring Data takes care of all the boilerplate code required by JPA. Named queries are one of the core concepts in JPA. They enable you to declare a query in your persistence layer and reference it in your business code. That makes it easy to reuse an existing query. It also enables you to separate the definition of your query from your business code. You can define a named query using a named query annotation on an entity class or using a named query element in your XML mapping. In this video, I will show you the annotation-based mapping. It's the by far most common approach to creating a named query. When you define a named query, you can provide a JPQL query or a native SQL query in very similar ways. Let's take a look at both options. The JPA specification defines its own query language. It's called JPQL and its syntax is similar to SQL. But there are two essential differences between these two. You define your JPQL query based on your entity model. When you execute it, your persistence provider generates an SQL query based on your entity mappings and the provided JPQL statement. That enables you to define database-independent queries, but also limits you to the features supported by your persistence provider. JPQL supports only a small subset of the SQL standard and almost no database-specific features. The definition of a named JPQL query is pretty simple. You just have to annotate one of your entity classes with named query and provide two strings for the name and query attributes. The name of your query has to be unique within your persistence context. You will use it in your business code or repository definition to reference the query. The name doesn't have to follow any conventions if you want to reference the query programmatically. But if you're going to reference it in a Spring Data JPA repository, the name should start with the name of the entity class, followed by a dot, and the name of the repository method. The value of the query attribute has to be a string that contains a valid JPQL statement. If your query returns an entity, you can define your projection implicitly, as you can see in the author.findByFirstName query. The author.findByFirstName and lastName query contains a select clause to define the projection explicitly. JPQL, of course, supports way more features than I used in these simple examples. You can learn more about it in my ultimate guide to JPQL queries with JPA and Hibernate, which you will find here. If you want to define multiple JPQL queries and use at least JPA 2.2 or Hibernate 5.2, you can annotate your class with multiple named query annotations. If you're using an older JPA or Hibernate version, you need to wrap your named query annotation within a named queries annotation. Native SQL queries are more powerful and flexible than JPQL queries. Your persistence provider doesn't pass these queries and sends them directly to the database. That enables you to use all SQL features supported by your database. But you also have to handle the different database dialects if you need to support multiple DBMS. Here you can see the same queries as in the previous example, but this time they are defined as native SQL queries instead of JPQL queries. You can define a named native query in almost the same way as you specify a named JPQL query. The three main differences are: you need to use a named native query instead of a named query annotation. The value of the query attribute has to be an SQL statement instead of a JPQL statement, and you can define an entity class or a reference to an SQL result set mapping that will be used to map the result of your query. Spring Data JPA can provide a set of default mappings so that you often don't need to specify it. Using JPA's Entity Manager, you can run named native queries and named JPQL queries in the same way. You call the createNameQuery method on the Entity Manager with the name of the named query you want to execute. That gives you an instance of a query or type query interface. You will then call the setParameter method on the returned interface for each bind parameter used in your query. As a final step, you call the getSingleResult or getResultSet method on the query or type query interface. That executes the query and returns one or multiple result set records. Here you can see the required code to execute the author.findByFirstName query that we defined in the two previous examples. Before you run this code, you should activate the logging of SQL statements. You can then see the executed SQL statement and the used bind parameter values in your log file. In this example, I called the named native query version of the previously shown author.findByFirstName query. As you have seen in the previous example, executing a named query using JPA's Entity Manager isn't complicated, but it requires multiple steps. Spring Data JPA takes care of that if you reference a named query in your repository definition. Doing that is extremely simple if you follow Spring Data's naming convention. The name of your query has to start with the name of your entity class, followed by a dot, and the name of your repository method. In the previous examples, I defined the named queries author.findByFirstName and author.findByFirstName and lastname as JPQL and native queries. You can reference both versions of these queries by adding the methods findByFirstName and findByFirstName and lastname to the author repository. You can then inject an author repository instance in your business code and call the repository methods to execute the named queries. As you can see in the code, you can use these repository methods in the same way as a repository method that executes a derived query or a declared query. Spring Data JPA handles the instantiation of the named query, sets the bind parameter values, executes the queries, and maps the result. Named queries are one of the various options to query data from your database that are defined by the JPA specification. Spring Data JPA provides a very comfortable way to use named queries in your repository. It takes care of all the repetitive boilerplate code required by the JPA specification. By default, Spring Data JPA checks for a named JPQL or a named native query that follows the naming convention entityClassName.repositoryMethodName before it tries to derive a query from the method name. Okay, that's it for today. If you want to learn more about Hibernate, you should join the free member library. It gives you free access to a lot of member-only content, like a cheat sheet for this video, and an ebook about using native queries with JPA and Hibernate. I'll add the link to it to the video description below. And if you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe below. Bye!